Emerging from the coast mountains of British Columbia, the Fraser River flows through a broad, fertile valley on its way to the Pacific. The early people that migrated to this area lived in harmony with the world around them. Their intimate connection with nature ensured their survival.
This is one of our sacred sites, like a place we call Hatem. We've been looking after this place for thousands and thousands of years. So what's in our understanding, we look after these places because they look after us.
Vancouver architect Rob Seignac and Tom Seams with Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation are being shown a 9,000-year-old village site at Mission, British Columbia by Seabird Island First Nation elder Clem Seymour.
This is one of our...
They're here to look at the reconstruction of some of the earliest underground habitats ever built. Nearby at the Seabird Island First Nation community, the same ancient design elements have been applied to what's considered to be the first on-reserve sustainable community demonstration project in the world.
Long before the European Society came in, the things that we have here, it's an underground home where our people used to live in the wintertime. They lived underground because Mother Earth kept our people warm. Our people always used what was available to them.
I think this structure is probably one of the oldest environmentally designed structures ever in North America. And there's a lot of lessons that we can bring forward into the future.
Well, we also recognize the design by including the beam construction that we incorporated in Seabird, and the layout of the Seabird units or houses are recognizing that it's a circle and following the sun.
Located 120 kilometers from Vancouver, the Seabird Island First Nation community is the largest by land size of the 24-band Stalo Nation. It also owns the province's largest sheep and hazelnut farms. It was the Seabird Island First Nation community that was asked by CMHC, Canada's National Housing Agency, and INAC, Indian and Northern Affairs Canada, to consider becoming the site for a sustainable community demonstration project.
Seabird was identified as an area that we thought would be ideal for this pilot project. They're in an area that experiences a diverse weather climate. They're also very accessible to Vancouver, meaning there would be an easy location to demonstrate a project, to have people come in and see it.
We got involved in this project with CMHC. They had approached us looking for a community that was willing to participate, and the project pretty much fit what we were being told from our community as far as construction of social housing here at Seabird, and we jumped on that opportunity when they made that proposition to us.
CMHC, along with some of the architects that came in, gave us a brief overview at different times on the project and what it's going to mean and sustainability, that sort of thing, And we looked at it and we accepted it as the council.
So I was happy to see that.
Input was sought from the community to ensure that the overall design was culturally relevant and reflected their needs and concerns.
We're trying to follow the sun here. So all the buildings are grouped and they're all facing south. We're using this as a centering point in the site, and it becomes a community space. It's going to be developed as a garden. There's going to be some carvings, and there's going to be some medicinal planting and that kind of thing that's going to happen in that space.
The circle also means the circle of life. Our lives, the lives of everything on this earth, everything that God has made. Remember that this earth is our mother.
We saw an opportunity to introduce not just single-family housing, but some efficient land use in terms of a little bit higher density, but not too dense. And the key to the whole thing is finding the sacred balance of the land, because there is a point where you can put too much on land.
Once approved by the Seabird Island First Nation Band Council, a groundbreaking celebration marked the start of the project.
Some of the best things that happened over time is like that when we turn on, we share a culture with everybody else that's coming. We take care of it within the culture of our people that get and thanking everybody. And this is the way Seabird's thanking you for coming together, working together with us.
First Nation communities have the fastest growing population in Canada. To alleviate the need for social housing, CMHC and INAC financed the construction of approximately 2,300 housing units in First Nation communities across Canada each year.
We do have a growing aging population. Right now, our youth far outnumber any of the adult population, and we anticipate that in the near future we will have an extremely high waiting list. I would definitely say that we do have homes here that are multi-families. We have 2 and 3 families residing together in a home that was designed for a single family unit.
Overcrowding really leads to a lot of deterioration, rapid deterioration of houses just from normal wear and tear. And we felt very concerned that the quality of the houses that were being built certainly couldn't take the pressures of overcrowding and extended use.
To help eliminate the problem of overcrowding, CMHC has developed a flex housing concept.
The project has flexible features throughout it, so we can turn the 7 units into 12 units. The building can expand with the needs, and when I say expand, it can be redesigned with the needs of the families, which addresses the issues around overcrowding.
First Nations also have a disability rate that is almost twice that of the national average. Flex housing features such as wider doorways, lower light switches, and accessible bathrooms will help to ease this situation. These features can be costly to change in an older home, but affordable when the home is first constructed.
Well, we were on the waiting list for social housing like everybody else, and it just so happened that we were chosen for one of these homes.
We were living in a 2-bedroom basement suite, and we have 3 children, and so it will be nice to be able to finally be settled into a home that will accommodate all of us.
I'd say the key partnerships in this project is Seabird Island, who have contributed not only in labor and in kind, but also financially. It is their project. CMHC has provided equity into the project, and equally or even surpassing that is Indian and Northern Affairs.
We're immediately intrigued and turned on. The elegance of a small environmental footprint combined with First Nations husbandry of the environment, it just seemed such a great fit. It's not only flexible, it's culturally appropriate. There was a lot of community input, and we were just pleased to be a part of it. So we took our innovative housing allocation for that year and invested it in this project.
Seabird Island has their own construction crew, and they have done a number of their own projects. They employ their own members and members from other First Nation communities in the area. And they're very eager in training their own people so that they can build their own houses.
Well, I've never worked on a development like this before, and it's pretty good to be first time working on a place like this.
It's pretty interesting. You learn a whole bunch of stuff in different kinds of building aspects, and having to deal with architects that keep sneaking around.
Yeah, there's need for housing on my reserve, and someday I hope it would be houses like this.
The rising cost of energy and an increasing need for healthier and more flexible housing require that something be added to CMHC's housing formula: new alternative technologies.
It's a very windy site, and so we immediately wanted to take advantage of that natural and alternate energy source. Likewise, through design and a southern orientation has made it so that passive solar energy can contribute up to 30% of the energy load in these houses.
To the native people, like that there's earth, wind, fire, and water, like that, and all the things that come together, that they're very important to our people because it's a connection that we have to Mother Earth and all these things.
The elements of tying back to the earth, when we looked at this project, we looked at some of the indigenous buildings, and this goes back to the pit house. It followed the sun. We're actually using the principles in terms of the site planning so that we take advantage of solar energy. There's a communal garden, we call it the spiritual heart of the project.
In this particular project, we saw that there was really an opportunity to integrate some of the First Nations traditions, bring in the energy efficiency aspect that we've been used to doing in other projects, working with the community groups, working with various suppliers and partners.
But we have to be reasonable in pricing too.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to be out here with my video camera, and in the future we can show our kids as to how their house kind of came together from bottom to top, and yeah, it's quite exciting for our children to see as well.
At the Seabird Island project, CMHC is sharing its research and expertise in the construction of flex housing, healthy housing, and rain screen technology to build sustainable homes that are both affordable and flexible.
One of the unique things about this project is that it's showing some leadership, not just to the native communities, but also to the rest of Canada, how you can design a building that is sustainable. So we use good materials, such as a rain screen that prevents water from coming in through the siding, metal roofs that should last indefinitely, a plastic sill plate that doesn't soak up water.
When it comes down to the native definition, sustainability is that we're trying to build for 7 generations. I like that definition, that we should be building everything for our children's children. We're starting to realize that gas, fossil fuel supplies are quickly diminishing. If we don't increase the energy efficiency of our houses now, what's going to heat that house?
Using solar, wind, and geothermal systems, you know, it's something that we've been interested in, and it was nice to be able to incorporate those aspects into housing to reduce some of the operating costs for our tenant, and hopefully there won't be so much going towards utility costs.
A shallow type of geothermal energy can be extracted from the earth with inexpensive tubing. This was the first energy-saving technology installed at the project.
We're talking about a very simple system here where we're using the earth energy to preheat incoming air. Basically, it's trenching 4 feet down, putting in a simple tube, going out and coming back, and the theory being that by the time it gets back to the house, the earth has actually heated that up. So the incoming air all of a sudden doesn't have to heat up as much. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about when we say affordable and inexpensive.
Grace and Lyle Bob and their 2 granddaughters will also be living in one of the single-family homes.
So it's been probably close to 43 years since we left here. Yeah. And I was actually born probably about 2.5 miles down the road here. So in a house I think my father and my grandfather built. So it's kind of stepping back into the traditional way of living, you know. Like this is actually kind of like one of the cave dwellings, like dug down in a hole, like at Hatzik Rock. Well, this gives you almost the same type of feeling, you know. You feel like you're home and welcome before you're even here, you know. So for us, it's just coming home again, so for the last time, so. Except for these guys will probably be out leaving us one day, so.
Recycled building materials were used on the project where possible to promote sustainability.
Logs you see that are here are from all over the province. They've been recycled from telephone poles and hydro poles. Some of them are up to 300 years old. The yellow cedar ones in particular are going to be used in the inside, and it's a very special treat in terms of its significance to First Nation peoples.
Heat for the homes is generated with a hydronic system. Solar heated water is circulated through plastic tubing in the floor slab to create radiant heat. Richard Unfrau is a technical specialist overseeing the installation and the training of a local crew.
Radiant floor heat, it's one of the beauties what we can have. Invented in old Rome, we create a huge radiant panel, and this is actually how we heat our housing here.
After testing the hydronic system, a cement pad was poured to permanently seal the tubing within the floor.
What we're hoping to do is expand the lifespan of a normal housing project. What our norm has been is 25 to 30 years for a house. Is that in this particular project, if properly maintained, it should last 100 years.
We're using a substantial amount of solar energy from the roof to preheat water so that you don't have to use your hot water tank that much. The solarium is there because it adds another skin to the building. The solarium also is a solar collector, which of course absorbs the sun's energy and uses that to distribute through the rest of the house.
Solar is, instead of using a lot of electricity, it's from the sun and from the ground, from Mother Earth, because we use ordinary electricity and gas. But here, this is the solar, and it has that power there, so it does with the wind and with the sun.
The Seabird Island First Nation demonstration project provided a great opportunity for many manufacturers and suppliers to showcase new technologies and products.
What we have here today is a new Tyvek roofing membrane, and when I say new, I mean new to North America. And it's a roofing membrane that's specifically designed for underneath a strap roof because they are extracting the heat from underneath the metal roof through fans and then pumping it back into the dwelling. We did do some off-gassing testing out of the University of Calgary. The off-gassing wasn't even measurable.
One more thing is completed, you know, all the time, and so it's exciting to be able to watch the progress go on. The healing garden is phenomenal, and for us to be able to be the people that are going to be living closest to it is great.
To mark the cardinal directions in the healing garden, 4 cedar poles were carved by local carvers. Bear, wolf, eagle, and human figures are ancient clan motifs found carved on Stalo First Nation poles.
Each one of the figures is going to represent one of the 4 sacred directions. And this is going to be a welcome figure of a woman with her arms out like this, welcoming the people to the healing circle, where they're going to go and purify themselves and cleanse themselves and get in touch with their inner being. The cedar tree is very sacred to the Salish people here on the West Coast. This is our pride and joy. The cedar's like gold to us. It's a good healer. We use it for cleansing ourselves. We use it in preparing the food, heating the house, everything.
At one time, cedar was our lumber that we used to make homes with. Now today, it's different. Today, it's all formaldehyde inside the wood. And that's not very healthy when you put formaldehyde in anything, because there's things in there that could make you sick.
CMHC's healthy housing concept is designed to improve the comfort level and health quality of the home. It involves the use of a building envelope that can deal with moisture, good ventilation, proper lighting, and clean indoor air.
Fiberglass insulation has been around for 50 or 60 years, and the industry standard has been to use a phenyl formaldehyde binder to bind the product together. What we have done is come out with a state-of-the-art acrylic binder, and we've taken the formaldehyde out of the batch just so that we can reduce those concerns people have about indoor air quality. We're certified to have in excess of 50% post-consumer recycled glass, and that's curbside bottle glass that you and I throw away.
Mold is another major problem contributing to the physical damage of homes and to the ill health of their occupants. Certain mold can cause headaches, respiratory problems, and fatigue. To help eliminate this problem, a plastic sill plate made from recycled products and a mold-resistant drywall, applied for the first time to residential housing, were used on this project.
Basically, mold needs food. Food is organic material that's in a building. So what Georgia Pacific has done, they've taken away the organics. The paper's been taken away, replaced with fiberglass mat, front and back. This is the first innovative, mold-resistant product developed anywhere in the world.
The number of the communities we deal with are in isolated locations. They don't have access to utilities. They're often operate on power generators or wood heat. With rising costs of energies, we're going to be showing solutions to that through the windmill generators. We're going to show how much cheaper it is to operate a house.
When I was 10 years old, I learned a lot already about gardening from my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and great-grandmother. When this garden started to grow and have herbs, my prayers is that the medicine will help us when it's done in the right way.
The whole purpose of the medicine wheel was for praying, where they would come be able to sit because of the 4 directions that it represents and the colors, and it would be a place to come for a healing. They can come and actually pick the ceremonial plants and help them heal themselves at a time when they're not feeling well.
It's very important that we recognize the things that our ancestors set in place for us and that we hold on to them. We teach ourselves to look after one another in a good way. We look after the very ground that we walk on. We look after the homes that we have here.
This uniquely designed wind generator is painted in traditional colors representing the Stalo Nation and the medicine wheel.
This is the first one produced of this size ever. Some of the old ones were produced for testing, and they've run for 18 years with no maintenance and not even grease put to the bearings. Very durable, very trouble-free. I think one of the most important things about this turbine is that it's absolutely silent.
I like to be in balance with Mother Earth and love and respect everything that God has made, because I am related to everything that God has made. So therefore I walk in balance with Mother Earth. Once you start walking in balance, you have no more problems. No more. None.
But for the way the community is looking at this project is not only that it's promoting, what we're doing here at Seabird as far as housing is concerned, but it's also given people who are considering building their own homes ways that cost a little more upfront, but in the long run will save them. So many of them, in their planning for building their homes, are looking at what we're doing here in this project.
The one demonstration unit will be open for 2 years, and during that time we'll be closely monitoring all of the energy systems. We think that these houses will be 50 to 60% more energy efficient than the normal house, and that's all going to contribute to the knowledge of building science, and we hope to transfer that right across the country and internationally as well.
It's grand opening day. First Nations bands from British Columbia and the Yukon, along with government representatives, and all those that contributed to the project have been invited to attend.
What's taking place here today is very important. Very important, like sitting down and showing where everybody's at. Showing the rest of the world what it means to stand up and work together and walk together to get something done here. There's so many people that we need to stand up and say thank you to.
This will be a demonstration project of a project that can happen throughout BC and Canada. It's got such innovations, such ways, sustainability that the house will carry on for 2 or 3 times the lifetime of an ordinary house. And the heating bills will be much lower, and we're using geothermal and wind energy. All these are real new alternatives which all in BC and Canada must turn to if we are to help protect the environment.
It's an honor for me to be here on the behalf of the Government of Canada on Stolo traditional territories and to take part in this quite extraordinary demonstration project, not just a demonstration to ourselves and the people of this community and this nation, but across the country and around the world in terms of sustainable building practices.
All right. Okay.
A one, a two, a three.
We've had interest from the Atlantic all the way up north, all the way to, of course, BC. And they want information. We've done presentations in Quebec, in Ontario. Everybody's keen to see the results, and they want to perhaps take a piece of it back home to their communities.
The basic philosophy for us is taking care of Mother Earth, and we're here to, I guess, adopt some ideas, and hopefully we can use them in possible projects up in northern Saskatchewan.
We see this fitting into what our elders have always preached to us about in terms of utilizing the resources. I mean, the fossil fuels, it's a concern today.
The interest that's been generated with the opening today and the media attention this is garnering shows that there's an interest out there. The Canadians have one of the worst environmental footprints on the planet. Because we are so blessed with natural resources that we take things for granted a little bit. We use a lot of energy in heating our homes and heating water and wasteful use of water and so on. People collectively are coming to the realization that that sort of waste isn't appropriate anymore. And I think this house provides a reasonable way in which people can participate in a more environmentally sensitive lifestyle without diminishing quality of life. And I think this project demonstrates that very nicely.
Sustainability is really an attitude. It's an attitude that the community embraces in terms of how they live and how they have a connection to the land and their homes and their place on the land.
The project has definitely met our expectations and has really gone beyond. But at the time when we started this, we did not really understand the full extent or the impact that this project would have on our way of thinking about housing. What I was anticipating at the beginning of the project, was just looking at finding a better way of building and ensuring that the people that would be occupying the home would be satisfied with what we were able to provide. And I think we've accomplished that and really gone beyond.
The Seabird Island First Nation Sustainable Community Demonstration Project is officially opened and awaits its new occupants. It is hoped that it will act as a guide for the evolution of a new generation of sustainable housing for the future.